Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to draw a horned dragon. When it comes to horned dragons, there is not necessarily any specific style of dragon, except that if you can just make sure that there are all these nice long horns in more than one place, it begins to justify a horned dragon. So we're just doing the first primary framework here, and the idea is that we'll be using markers, pens, and anything with ink to do the tones and the fills once we have done all the outlines here. So the horned dragon, I think that if you would like to check out the mythology deeper, the best source is, in my estimate, the McFarlane dragons. Like they were a series of figurines essentially for adult collectors, which were highly detailed figurines of dragons. So right there, I illustrated on the side the scale structure that we'll be using. So those are like pretty much like straight and intermixed, intertwining lines that we are using throughout the dragon's outer texture. So on the head and even in the body, we'll be using the same texture throughout. And of course, we'll be using deeper and fading fills all across to give it the illustration of, to give it the feeling of scales. So here we're just going along the surface, so straighter scales here as opposed to the more angled scales that are going along its spine. And then along the head as well, we're just putting in the scales right along the curvature and along the shapes, and that is how they will really come out. So the next step, of course, we grab this thicker Sharpie, putting in a tongue there, and of course we put in the teeth. Again, no particular method. The teeth can be jagged, the teeth can be again like some small, some bigger. And then we just do some fills all along the framework in terms of the crosshatch, the intertwining crosshatch that we have put in. So this requires a lot of patience, and of course in certain areas, according to your idea and your preference, whether it is the horns, whether it is the head, you could do the crosshatch to fit the purpose. So if you need it like in a little more dense in certain areas and have that like comic book or pop culture feel to it, then you could also make do with a thinner instrument. However, in my estimate, for a profile, because we're just doing the profile here, not necessarily the wings or the body. So just to do the profile, just this thick of a marker, this Sharpie, should suffice in achieving a different, in a diversified range of tones and fills all through the dragon head and the neck in this case. So right there we are putting in now on the spine, along the spine, putting in faded tones. We can do this in two ways. One is that you could use the same Sharpie or that same one instrument, and or just like we are doing here, grab a brush, do some more intense fills, and also use that same tool to fade out the fills if you require. Or also we could grab a set of faded markers that can help us like achieve the effect with a little less effort with each and every scale that we are trying to fill in here. However, right here we're just like making do with a very thin, with the thinnest instrument we're using here, just the conventional fine point marker, and we can just add some very minuscule crosshatch details and lines to perhaps blanket the entire head in those distinctive lines and give it the feeling of scaled structure for both the head and the part of the neck and the spine here. And then we will grab our marker again and just do the final touches to this, the quick sketch, and that is either with a marker that is regular in its ink or faded one. You could use a mix of them or use the same one to achieve the fills and the fade out effect in the horns, in the head, and along the spine. So there can also be the use of a Copic, a faded gray color Copic, to achieve the effects if you desire. That is a horned dragon. A lot of fun. Please do try it out. Please do keep in touch. Do subscribe. Let's keep sharing ideas. Thank you very much for watching. And till the next video, have yourself a wonderful day.